was never an athlete, and I'm starting this video with that statement simply because I think it's interesting, my journey, my fitness journey, and where I began and where I am now and everything that happened in between, because I think a lot of people, when they look at people who exercise and they exercise part of their daily life and fitness is part of their daily life, they think, oh, they must have done sports as a kid, they must have been super athletic. That was not the case for me. Growing up, I was always a bookish girl. I really liked reading, and I really liked TV. I liked eating snacks, and I liked making cookies, and not much of that has really changed. I did, however, have really awesome parents. I still have awesome parents. And when I was a kid, they really let me experiment. They let me try new things all the time. Whenever I was interested in something and we had the capabilities to do it, they let me try it, which is something I'm really grateful for. So specifically sports, athletic related things, the biggest thing I was interested in when I was a kid was gymnastics, and I was always naturally flexible. My sister did gymnastics too. I know it's pretty common for kids to like go to gymnastics, and I loved it so much. The issue was I was never good at it. I just enjoyed it. I could never even do a back handspring. It was something I wanted to do ever since I started, and I could never do it, and it was very frustrating. And I always wanted to join team, like the cool girls were on the gymnastics team, and I never made it because I wasn't talented enough. And eventually I quit gymnastics because it just wasn't a natural skill of mine, so I didn't continue. I did try soccer as a child as well. I think I was in 5th grade. I did AYSO, which is the kid league here, and you know, I'm not lying when I say I was so bad. I was so bad that during games, they did let me play because they were a really great team and they were very nice to me, but the team mom had to like run alongside the field and like tell me where to go because I was just so unaccustomed to having a ball to kick around. It was not my favorite. Did it 1 year, I was done. I also, strangely enough, was interested in kickboxing for some reason. I don't know why, so my parents let me do some kickboxing. Wasn't good at that either. The one sport, yeah, I guess it is a sport, that I did pretty consistently in junior high and a little bit in high school was cheerleading. At the school that I attended, cheerleading was not like it's not like the movies where the cool kids do cheerleading. It was definitely like anyone could make the team. Now, I was captain of my junior high cheerleading team, but that is not attributed to my athletic abilities. That is attributed to the fact that I am highly encouraging and I have leadership skills, which is what I was told by my coach. Now, that is pretty much all my physical activity, athletic experience as a child, which I believe, you know, those experiences, like doing sports when you're a kid, really sets up a great foundation for you in the future. Even though I never really did a lot of sports as a kid, and I don't think I'm a naturally athletic person, breathing is not that easy for me. However, I don't think I'm clumsy, and I actually think I have pretty good body awareness. And what I mean by that is I've always loved to dance. I loved choreography. It was really easy for someone to show me a dance move and I could just do it, or like pick up choreography. And I say that because I think it's important to know your strengths when it comes to athletic abilities. Natural breathing, I don't know what you call it, just intake of oxygen. I have no clue if this is accurate, but I think my lungs are this tiny because it's so hard for me to, like, endurance is difficult for me. So, you know, as a kid, I was always the stick thin girl. Ellen and I were always super skinny. It was just genetics before puberty, very, very thin. And then when puberty hit, I started realizing, oh, I can't just eat 2 boxes of Cheez-Its while watching Gilmore Girls. I need to actually take care of my health, but I didn't know how because I was a kid. And I still did not incorporate exercise. It wasn't something that was interesting to me. I'd rather read Little Women again rather than put on some exercise shorts and shoes. But I always sort of had this idea like, oh, girls who exercise look good, so I should exercise. But I never created a habit of it. I didn't start exercising until I was 21. And I actually want to give a little shout out to my friend I haven't spoken to in a very long time. His name's Brian. Thank you, Brian, for making me go for a run with you those couple months there when you taught me how to run. He kind of changed my life in a way. He was a very encouraging guy. He's a friend I had in high school and in college. I was so unaccustomed to exercise that I couldn't do much. I was still thin, I think, because I started to eat well. At that point, I was eating plant-based, and it wasn't that hard to maintain a healthy body weight, but I couldn't do much. I wasn't strong, and I wasn't fit. And that's fine. You don't have to, you know, have like a bunch of strength and a bunch of fitness to feel good about yourself, but it was something I generally wanted. And then Brian said, hey, you should come running with me. And I said, heck no, that looks hard. And he's like, come on, I'll show you how to run 3 miles without stopping. 3 miles without stopping. I mean, that sounded so crazy to me. Like, what? I couldn't even do the mile in high school for PE. Whenever we had to run the mile, I just walked it. And then my teacher got mad at me. But Brian took me to Back Bay, still my favorite running place in Orange County, and he basically met up with me a couple times a week, and we would do 3 miles every time, but I got to choose how much we ran. And the goal was you run as far as you can before you're like, I'm done, and then you walk the rest of the 3 miles. You can't start running again. And then after a few weeks, I don't know how long it was, I ran 3 miles without stopping, and I could not believe it. And it wasn't a flat surface too. There were some like rolling hills. I was so proud of myself. And that showed me that, okay, I don't have to see myself as this like bookish nerd girl who doesn't know how to exercise. I can actually enjoy being outdoors and moving my body. Around that time in college too, I sort of got introduced to yoga, and I went to Yoga Works and did a couple classes. Still thought it was kind of weird and didn't find it challenging at all. So I would go and I'm like, I'm doing something good for my body, but I didn't see it really as exercise, and I didn't know anything about really the benefits of yoga, but it did plant a little seed. I sort of kept up running a little bit, I don't think I went any longer than 5 miles. It wasn't something I really maintained. However, after I graduated college and after Eric and I met, we both read this book called Born to Run, which another, you know, little life-changing moment. I was so inspired by this idea of these people who run for miles and miles and miles and just long distances, endurance. And I thought that was inspiring. I don't have any other word for it. So Eric and I decided to sign up for our first half marathon. We did the Long Beach Half Marathon, and I ran it in 2 hours, which, I mean, that's not a bad time for someone who really wasn't much of a runner. I did train for it. We followed like a training schedule, and for one of the first times in my life, like I really recognized, wow, it feels so good to be consistent with exercise. And I started to like breathe easier, and I could, you know, walk up a flight of stairs without getting winded. That's a thing. And really, I just want to reiterate, I was 22, 23 when I ran that half marathon, and I would say that was like the first time I really was committed to a fitness or exercise regime, and even just had any sort of discipline when it came to exercise. But I was still having fun with it. It wasn't like, you know, control freak. The reason I think this is important to note is for anyone else out there who kind of is interested in exercise, but it just sounds hard. It's crazy, but it's true. The experience of not exercising versus exercising, like, you think it's gonna be so difficult, but then once you get in the rhythm and make it a habit, it feels so good that it's really difficult to imagine life without exercise. And during, you know, my early mid-20s, I was running a lot and I really enjoyed it. I was doing like power hour classes with my friend Kat, who's this amazing personal trainer up in Long Beach, and I was like, I can't believe I never exercised before. I just can't. And it made me think, wow, I used to just literally never exercise, and now if I miss a few days, I feel weird, and it doesn't feel very good in my body. I feel worlds better when I take care of my body and exercise regularly. It was around that time, gosh, I think I might have been 27, I don't know, don't quote me on this, when I started doing yoga daily. Now again, I had been introduced to yoga, but it was not something I was all that interested in because I never really found it to be challenging enough to be interesting. I think because I was naturally flexible, so the flexibility side was interesting to me. I didn't really know about the strength side of yoga. I joined my friend Michelle's website. Right now it's called Banana Blondie Yoga, and I started doing yoga every single day. It was unlimited yoga for a very affordable price. Everything changed for me. I actually have my most popular video on my channel is what happened when I started doing yoga every day, because I really was doing it every single day. I did not miss a day. And you'll see in that video, if you haven't watched it yet, that like my whole life changed. I started to be so much more open creatively, which is not something I went into yoga for. I went into yoga to get a kick-ass body like Michelle and I wanted to feel strong and fit, and I just had no idea the benefits. And I think yoga came really naturally to me when I really gave it an honest go with Michelle's site and doing it daily, because I have that natural body awareness, and dancing has always been something that came really easily to me. I have general control over my body. So when it comes to, you know, give me a ball, a soccer ball, a basketball, I'm a mess. I mean, I really don't have depth perception like normal people because of my eye thing. And so I don't do well with balls. Yes. So now I'm 31 and I am fitter than I have ever been in my whole life. Yoga for me now, I don't consider I have a daily practice anymore, simply because I have also been running a lot, and sometimes I do running and yoga in the same day, but it's not that easy. I mean, we're all really busy. Just exercising for an hour a day is a huge win, and so to do 2 in one day would be a lot, just time-wise. But it is always the intention, and I'm shooting for 5 days a week of yoga right now. I actually recently joined a studio just for the reason that my house is too cold right now to practice yoga, and I want to do a whole video about home practice versus studio practice coming soon. I do run with Eric a lot. We joined a running group, which has been another one of those like life-changing moments, to have an exercise community of a bunch of weirdos who also love to run really long distances and call that fun. Here's the thing about running, guys, is that if you have only ever done road running, like you've only like run around your neighborhood on the sidewalk, blah, like I can see why people don't want to run. That's boring. You have to stop at lights. You get chased by dogs. At least I do. It's not as interesting as when you go out on the trails. I don't know what it's like for most people, but everywhere I've been, there's some sort of trail system. It might not be as epic as living in Oregon, but here we have an awesome trail system. You know, we drive 30 minutes to get to the trails, and it's beautiful. Even if you live in a city, I was in Paris last summer, and running was more difficult because it's in a city, but I just went to the parks where you don't have to wait for lights and you can just run around. There's a bunch of people exercising, and there's something really inspiring and motivating being out in nature, seeing green things, and it keeps us running for long distances. And when I am running 30 miles a week, 40 miles a week, and doing yoga, I feel like Superwoman. I feel super fit and energized and excited, and just my core is strong. And you know, it's really not about looks. That's not what fitness is for me. It's so much more than that. It's energy level, and it's mood, and it's fun, and it's community. I think there's a lot of like stigma for, oh, you shouldn't work out to look good. I don't agree with that. I think if you want to look good, yeah, work out. Like, well, I don't see the problem in that. There's a problem if it becomes like an addiction or an unhealthy thing, but I think that's another story. The reason I wanted to share my fitness story, my fitness journey, is because I'm not one of those gym rats. Like, I'm not one of those girls who did volleyball and basketball all through high school and now is like at the gym working my butt, although I do lunges sometimes and it hurts. I wanted to share this because I think that everyone can really benefit by finding some sort of exercise that you truly enjoy, and it's not drudgery and grueling to drag yourself to the gym. You could find something that's outside in community, or you know, it could be anything. People love all kinds of sports and activities that get your heart rate going and get you excited to jump in there. And that's really all that matters. You don't have to follow what another person follows. You know, when I started doing yoga and I started feeling really good and getting actual like visible results, I was like, oh my God, I have biceps. I had friends who were like, oh, I'm gonna try that. But then it turns out like yoga wasn't really for them, and that's fine. I guess I don't know, it's weird to talk about fitness because like I really think I've come a really long way, and I don't want it to come off as flexing. I used to be so not strong. I used to have like no muscle at all, and now I do, and that's cool. I think the overall message is this, and anyone will tell you this if you know you're trying to get advice about how to truly start an exercise practice of any kind, It's about creating habits. It's about integrating it into your life so that it feels like it's part of your lifestyle, it's who you are now, you're not going to compromise, and without exercise, you feel off. That's how it goes when you have a regular practice. You don't have to run trails, you don't have to do yoga or sign up for Banana Blondie's site if you don't want to, you don't have to go to the gym. You can canoe if you want to canoe. And I don't know what the secret sauce is. I don't know if there is a secret sauce. I think it's just about consistency, having a little self-discipline, and finding the exercise that truly brings you joy. That's my exercise story, my exercise journey. I will see you in the next video.